Today I meet Chef Arnaldo. The mission, make him an epic knife that exceeds his expectations. The one he has holds deep meaning. So will I be able to make one better? Let's find out. Who is Tio Lucho?
Tio Lucho is my dad. Tio Lucho is Uncle Luis. My dad was known in the Peruvian community as Tio Lucho because he worked in various Peruvian restaurants around town here in Atlanta. When it was time to open up the restaurant and pick a name and kind of what was gonna be our our theme, what are we gonna do with this space? I thought about my dad and I thought about how he was someone that could cook a great meal. You know what I mean? He knew how to make really badass Peruvian food.
It's funny because the first time I actually had ceviche from Peru, it was with a guy named Lucho. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. We actually talked about the experience of when you opened the restaurant and your father and you getting married. Can you share a little bit about that?
I started a pop-up, right? It was called La Chingana, and my wife helped me with everything that pop-up needed to really build our foundation. In that year, I was like, yeah, let's get married. So we got married, and then a month later, we were gonna open up the restaurant. In between that time, so I was like, we're gonna get married, we'll do a little honeymoon, and then open up a restaurant a month later, right? Yeah. In the middle of all that, my dad passed away, right? It was a really tough time because you go from getting married and being in this emotional high of a roller coaster, and then you dip real low. Sucks. He died on Father's Day.
Oh no!
So
I'm sorry, man.
We I had to buy a ticket that day and fly out to Peru to bury him, man. Yeah, man, it was tough. While I was in Peru, kind of being with family and remembering my father and stuff like that.
You have a daughter?
I have a daughter. She turned 10 months yesterday.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Man, time is flying.
Proud dad. Yeah, man, proud dad.
How do you feel about working in an industry that demands present?
I'm putting in the time now to hopefully be more present when my daughter is more aware of my presence, I guess. Now that we're parents, it's we're just trying to provide better opportunities, really. You know what I'm saying? I know the kind of schools that I went to, and I'm I want her to go to better schools, right? I know what kind of opportunities I had in the neighborhoods that I was in. Right. I want her to have better opportunities. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the driver for all of this.
So let's talk about your knife. What is your go-to knife?
My go-to knife right now is a chef's knife. It's a shun.
Yeah.
And the reason I like this is because at my last corporate job that I had before I quit and got into a pop-up to become my own boss, it was gifted to me. I appreciate that gesture, and it's just been a great go-to knife.
Yeah. Yeah, it has a lot of meaning to it.
Yeah.
I don't think my knife is going to replace that. This knife that I'm going to offer to you has a story of I have no idea what I'm doing. Chef Arnaldo has the 8-inch shun knife. The curvature of the edge starts around here and curves upwards here. Now, looking at how it performs, it's not lack of technique, it's just the knife needs to be thinned and sharpened. But I'm going to try and replicate the same style with a little bit more flair. The handle is awesome too. It thickens in the middle here and tapers back down here for comfortability. So the goal, make a shun 2.0. Now, if I remember correctly, the shun is made with rosewood, so we're gonna go for the same color scheme, but tweak it in the handle shape. When you pair stainless steel with desert ironwood, there's something very classy about that, something very timeless, so we're gonna go for that earthy tones stainless steel. Look at that, that's looking great. Haha. Looks good. This is looking beautiful. All right, we're gonna let this handle dry for a whole day, and then we're gonna work on the bolster. So now last check for the fitting. Looks good. God, it's so beautiful. Damascus steel is my go-to for stainless steel. I've already roughly cut it up, and now we're going to clean it up on the belt grinder for heat treat. The shape of the blade is very similar to Chef Arnaldo's, as I want to replicate what he's used to. Now I'm going to roughly set the primary bevels to speed up the process of grinding after it's hardened. And for those who have been asking, this is a no-scale clay. It prevents carbon from leaving the steel and makes sure there's no forged scale on the blade after it's hardened, which is hard to grind off. This stainless steel will be hardened through plate quenching. The plate quench rapidly sucks out the heat while also keeping the blade straight. Air is then blown through channels which are milled in the plate quench to cool the steel faster. This is always going to be the nerve-wracking part, the part where we have to find out if it's going to be straight, which in this case, we're good. Oh no, I ground too thin and I have a weak spot. Must have oh fuck. I gotta do a new one. I think I just ground it too thin. Let me just put my caliper here. That's why. And for the record, 0.04 millimeter is thinner than paper. Big boo-boo. Okay, so I have done another one. We're gonna not grind anything pre-heat treat just so that we don't have any issues. And yeah, never again. Landed on my foot! With my second attempt and with a lot of grinding, I am now applying the knife on a rotary plat. This creates convexity in the blade, which thins the blade exactly where I want it to be. So close. Beautiful. This saya has a lot of grain structure right around here, so I want to make sure that that is included in the saya. So the back end of the piece is going to be here, and it's going to taper to here. Super cool! To start making the saya, I create a template that I'm able to trace the shape of the knife on both sides, so that when the two pieces are glued, the knife evenly fits. Now, because of lessons learned from the previous episode, I create hidden pins as well. This secures the wood correctly once it's all clamped down. Using two different adhesives, I use epoxy for the metal and wood glue for the wood. Good. Clamp. Though I'm not really sure if what I'm gonna do is the smartest thing to do. I'm gonna try and make a pin out of a scrap piece of the Arizona ironwood. And if that fails, I'm just gonna make the cap for it. We're gonna see how it works out. I've never done this before. What? Never mind. I've sanded the sides to 800 grit. We're gonna apply some mineral spirits, and what that does is open up the pores of the wood, which allows a lacquer to latch on better. Let's see how this looks. Oh my God. Oh, I love you. We also have the pin. We're gonna let this rest for 8 hours, and then I'm gonna buff it with some beeswax, and we're done. Finished. We're just gonna get straight to it. We got garlic chives to make sure we got a good nice edge. We got onions for general prep. And we got carrots, of course, just to make sure that we got the right amount of resistance in the cut. Uncomfortable test handle, let's go for a straight cut. We got full clearance on the edge, hitting contact with the cutting board, so clear. Onion. Beautiful. I love it. Down the middle. Nothing. A little bit of dicing action. Let's just go straight down and see what happens. We're good. There's a couple ways to etch stainless steel. In this case, I'm using muriatic acid, which does a great job. It is then neutralized in a separate container filled with water and baking soda. Okay, now we're just gonna apply some mineral oil on here. It's looking amazing already. Oof. Look at that. Oh my God. This is the best part. This is really, man, laser. All right, we are finally done, and now we're gonna put everything together. Messing up the first knife set me off course. Anytime I make big mistakes like that, it really makes me a little bit nervous, which kind of restricts me from pushing the boundary, if I can say that correctly. So we're gonna see if Chef Arnaldo is happy with what I made him. I just don't know. Overall, this knife turned out pretty incredible. The handle and the tang haven't been epoxy yet, but I can just put the pin in just to see how it all looks. Here we go. Ah, look at that. Pretty happy. It's a really nice wood and a really incredible steel. And the result is, personally, great. But this is not my knife, so we will have to ask Chef Arnaldo. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna say will it cut anymore. It's getting a little annoying. Will it cut?
Yeah. You guys smell the guys?
This is the moment where Chef Arnaldo is gonna see the knife for the first time. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Open up.
Okay. Wow, dude. Wow. Oh my gosh, man, look at that. Wow. Bro. Yeah.
I wanted to go for something like natural, just wood, something simple.
Yeah, the wood is so pretty.
Yeah, man.
It's so sexy.
You wanna go try it out?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it.
For sure.
Let's do it.
Woo. Oh man. Like butter, dude.
How's it feel? Smooth?
Smooth. Smooth. Feels like I'm driving a Porsche. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I like this, man. Oh man.
Gifting this knife for Chef Arnaldo was awesome. There are so many things I learned
This
from
is
each
so
chef,
smooth.
and for him it was about commitment for family.
Yeah, dude.
We good?
Yeah, dude.
That's it?
Oof.
Para ti. Chef Arnaldo also gifted his staff a production knife that I recently released. 2 reactions made this an even better experience.
Zero.
Bueno.
Line checks are gonna go by.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, chef.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, chef. I love you, chef.